So this is going to be the most complex of the activities that we've worked on so far. So we're actually, this is actually going to be split up into the two sessions. So we're going to do some basic intro programming today. And then on Thursday, we're going to do more advanced. Okay, so the first part of this is actually just walking you through installing the SD library. So if you click on the link, you'll get taken to this web page here. Right? You can see this little notice up at the top. It's archived because it's read-only. There's no longer development on this. So what you want to do here, click on this little green button. You want to go to download zip. And then you download this wherever it's going to go. It doesn't really matter. And in fact, you can see I already have a copy in my downloads folder. That's okay, I'll just overwrite it. And if I open this up, you can see, hey, I got this single folder here, SD master. I now need to find wherever it is my Arduino libraries are installed. So for me, that's documents, Arduino libraries. Right, you can see I got my Adafruit library. I actually also have that SDFAT library. So if I want to just drag my folder in there, I will have to rename this though, because it will need to match the SD. So I need to just delete the dash master or rename it SD just so it matches, the folder name matches this SD.h. So now, if I've done that properly, and I open up the Arduino IDE, okay, so notably, my include SD.h in this code is orange, which means it recognizes the library. But unfortunately, like I said, this actually, that's the name of the default library, so it will still show up like that. But if I go into, for example, my examples, you can see here's all the basic Arduino stuff. But if I go way down here to my custom libraries, that's not quite showing up right. Let me blow this up. I can see way down here I've got one, right? So that lets me know that this is the right version. So once I've accomplished that, I'm ready to actually start programming. So the first thing that we're going to do is super simple. We're just going to run through basically, this is how you define and set up the SD card. And the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to try and initialize the SD card. So you can see here, I just, after I declare all of my pins and that, I have a simple if statement where I call sd.begin. So like I said, that's going to, if it is going to return a 1 if it successfully talks to the SD card, or a 0 when it doesn't. So if I run this when I don't have an SD card, it'll print out the initialization failed, and then it will just sit here at this while 1, which is a loop that will just continuously execute. So it'll just basically get to this point and stop. But if it's right, I'll get a little initialization successful. So if I stop sharing and I turn on my camera, right, you can see here's my Arduino. There's my SD card. So this is how the SD card should slide in, right? Should go in and it should click, right? And I can press it again to release. You can see my my GPS fix is going off. So for example, if I upload the code with the card purposely not installed, so let's turn my screen sharing back on, right? So I've got my first code here, I upload it. I open my serial monitor. You see it tries and it fails because obviously it should fail. The SD card is not actually installed. So I wouldn't expect it to work. But if I now press the SD card all the way in, I'll just hit the reset button. I don't need to re-upload the code. When I hit reset, it'll rerun the code that is already running on it. I do that. Hey, initialization successful. So that's all that you're trying to do for the first part, is make sure that you've got the library installed, that you can successfully talk to your SD card. All right, so for the next part is it's going to actually, we're just going to write a simple couple of lines of text to the file. We're going to say, hello world, this is a test, science is cool, right? So if I get all the code that runs that, and I upload it, and if I look at my serial monitor, I'll get, yep, so it wrote the data to test.txt. So now I want to eject my SD card. I'm going to install it in the adapter that it came with, because on my laptop that I'm programming with, I have a full-size SD slot. I plug it in and it'll open up, and I can see here that this has a test.txt, and I can see that, yep, it uploaded that, it wrote that line. And in fact, you can see that it wrote it twice. And that's because the write function is going to append data to a file. So if there was already a test.txt there, which there was, it's going to just basically add the data to that. And also you may sometimes get a little reset when you're uploading the code. And because it is so quick, it can actually run multiple times. So I'm just going to make sure this is completely erased. So I'm going to actually open up the SD card formatting utility. And I'm going to do a quick format to reset all of this. Yep. So now if I plug it back in, you'll see it's blank. So you may have noticed before that that had like an Android folder and stuff like that, because I had been using it for something else. All right, so now that that's reset, we want to proceed on to the third part. I do recommend try changing the text up, you know, getting your own output, doing, you know, print instead of print line. Also, basically, once you've got the code running, hit reset a bunch of times, and you'll see that you get something like this, where it's basically appending more and more data. So that is all that we want to try and get working today. Next time, we're going to make actual CSVs and do some data, make some fake data files. That is it. And I hope you guys can get that working.